540 days ago, aka June 23rd, 2020, may not be that significant of a day for most, but for the speedrunning community and the Minecraft community as a whole, this marks the end of a previous era and the start of a new one. The 1.16 Nether update changed so much about the game, from a whole revamp of a loved dimension to new ways to beat the game, as well as adding a ton of new blocks to build with and a ton of new things to explore, making this a very significant update for most players. For speedrunners, adding 2 whole new ways to beat the game, from trading with piglins to killing endermen in warped forests, cutting times down drastically, and with the speedrunning community growing at a rapid rate, gives a lot of extra helping hands to grow the category, from new seed discoveries to new crazy times, as well as a lot of tragic losses. And with that, I would like to present to you the 1.16 Bedrock Edition Set Seed Glitchless history. Before I go through the history of the category, I'm going to go through what a Set Seed Glitchless speedrun actually looks like. Set Seed Glitchless, or SSG for short, has exactly what you do in the name. Beat Minecraft on a set seed without any glitches as fast as you possibly can. But that's just the tip of the iceberg. Hours and hours of attempts go into getting a time, and it takes numerous hours, even weeks, to beat your personal best. I know from personal experience. There are multiple players on each platform of Minecraft that have high levels of gameplay and mechanics, from people like Craze or Cobra dominating on the PC, Hash Brown and Orphiakus taking the game on console, and Shukin and Chronicle tearing apart mobile, all having super high expectations as well as skills. Of course, not all these players are at their true potential, but all of them are very close, if not on the brink of reaching that level. And with great skill levels comes great speedruns, with almost all the players I've mentioned holding the world record, if not having times very close and very fast times in general, showing their skills in the category. Now let's take a leap back in time, right when 1.16 was first released and the first speedruns on the newly born category were being submitted. World record at the time of 1.16 being released was 8 minutes and 15 seconds, held by a speedrunner named El Triago, which at the time that was thought to be next to impossible to beat, but little did they know what was coming for the future of the new era of speedrunning. The first record set in the new 1.16 category was again by Lizard, clocking in at a 14 minute and 44 second run using the seed -273-83160. Using this seed, you would get some wood before heading off to a nearby village, looting that said village, getting things like wheat for food, grabbing beds for the dragonfly, and killing the iron golem for iron. Then you would craft a pickaxe and a shovel to where you would run off and dig down in a certain spot, digging into a dungeon where you would grab some iron from the chests to then craft into a bucket later on in the run. Running back to the village, you would use some flint that you hopefully gathered whilst digging into the dungeon and craft that into a fletching table, grabbing some water with your newly crafted bucket and resetting villager trades until you have an arrow trade, using the emeralds you gathered at the beginning of the run to trade for arrows. Then you would go down to some coordinates and dig down into the portal room of a stronghold, where you can build your portal and enter into the Nether. Upon entering the Nether, you go to a ruined portal where you collect the gold blocks featured in the portal and trade the gold with the piglins, hoping for pearl trades. If you're lucky enough to get the trades, then you can head off to the fortress where you will kill blazers until you have enough rods to enter the end. Once you've done that, you can run back to your Nether portal, go back through to the overworld and into the end. Then you can kill the ender dragon. At At the time, one-cycling strategies weren't used, which left runners to kill the Ender Dragon using normal dragon fight strats, shooting down towers and dealing damage when the dragon perches, and repeating this until the dragon is dead. This seed was the seed that most runners used for the next few months, with the time slowly getting lower and lower due to new strategies being implemented into runs, with Lizard beating his own world record, getting a 12:12, followed by Lizard once again beating the world record, getting an 8:05, which had been the first record to ever beat the world record before 1.16 came out. The reason it was so much faster is because Lizard used a new strategy that was found. By shooting the dragon in the neck, it causes a glitch to happen, allowing you to do double damage to the dragon with every hit you do, making the possibility of beds being used as a reality, and that's what ended up happening, with Lizard cutting off a 5 or more minute dragon fight to a sub-2 dragon fight by waiting 2 perch cycles and using 2 beds each time to quickly chip away at the dragon's health until it was dead. With players seeing this strategy coming into light, people started using it a ton more often, with it paying off because only 4 days after Lizard got the world record, Delt 9933 managed to beat the record by over a minute because he accidentally managed to beat the dragon in only 1 cycle. Since it wasn't discovered that lava can slow down the Ender Dragon at this time, you had to have some serious luck and have the dragon fly off in the perfect direction so you can land the 3-bed. But once it was found out that lava slows down the Ender Dragon, players started building a tower and placing a lava source so that it gave players a little more time to land the 3rd bed, allowing the dragon to be beaten in 1 singular perch cycle. This time of 5 minutes and 32 seconds was thought to almost be unbeatable since it was so much faster than the previous records, but only a few days after that record was set, El Triego managed to beat that record with a 5:27 since he could rely on himself to beat the dragon using the 1 cycle strategy, rather than hoping for a ton of luck and waiting 2 cycles. Runners started getting much faster times with the faster end fights, with Cobra getting a 5:23 world record and then El Triego taking back the world record with the last major minute barrier being broken, obtaining the first run to ever be beaten in under 5 minutes. With this insane new feat, players knew that the time wasn't going to get that much lower. At this point, the seed runners used is just too out of date, the limit had been reached and it was time for a new seed. And lucky enough for the community, a speedrunner named Yuvan was running RSG and loaded a seed that was so good that it shocked other players and quickly became a very high possibility for the new SSG seed. Let me give you a tour of the seed. The seed 376166226 spawns you next to a village where you can collect 3 beds and a hay bale. Then you jump down into a ravine and do a bed clutch so you don't take that much damage, and the ravine has an exposed dungeon as well as a stronghold. From the dungeon you get a bucket as well as some food and iron for the run. You can then craft a pickaxe, and if you want to, use the hay bale to craft extra food, then enter into the stronghold, running down a few hallways, grabbing water from a fountain, and then locating the portal room, building a nether portal, and entering the nether. In the nether, you gather about 40 blocks, and then build up to the bastion that is right next to your nether spawn. In the bastion, you mine up the gold blocks from the chalice, and trade it with the piglins, hoping for pearl trades, and if you get the trades, you can pearl over to the fortress and kill blazes until you have 5 blaze rods. Once you have all the rods, you can pearl back to the nether portal and enter back through to the overworld, then into the end. Then all you need to do is 1 cycle the dragon and then you've beaten the game. Remember, this insane seed was loaded in RSG and ended up becoming the set seed glitchless seed. It was so good, and quickly, players started getting super fast times on this seed. sub 430, sub 415, and quickly, even the sub 4 barrier was broken, and that was just the start because players started lowering the time more and more until Craze got on an incredible run. He played the overworld super well. Good start, and during his Bastion trades, he got crazy luck, entering and leaving the Bastion in under 20 seconds. He peeled over to the Fortress where he went 5 for 8 on Blaze Rods and quickly left the Nether. He then entered the end and one-cycled the Dragon, beating the game in 3 minutes and 23 seconds. This record stood for almost 3 months due to the fact that this was almost the limit for this seed. Other seeds were found in between, one that could have had a shot at world record if players ran it enough, but because you only got 6 gold to trade with, it made the seed very reset heavy, so not many players ran the seed, with only a few players getting times, with Danny15 getting a 411 and Gucci Gang Little Aku getting a 340. Another seed was discovered that was a bit different to the others. It didn't have a stronghold village underneath the spawn village. Rather, you would try get 10 obsidian in the nether, and then nether travel into the stronghold. Not many people ran this seed either, but from personal experience, it is definitely my favourite seed and one of the most enjoyable to play. And that was when another seed started being used. 564-030-610, a seed that had been discovered months prior, had finally gotten its chance to show its potential with the new 1.17 update coming out. The update had made it impossible for the previous seed to be used, due to the fact that the new Amethyst Geode structure was spawning right in the middle of the end portal, making the seed unbeatable. So speedrunners moved on to this new seed. You spawn in with a spruce village nearby where you can loot houses and buildings, getting things like wood, food, beds, iron, and obsidian, allowing you to craft things like buckets and pickaxes. Then you can collect some water and go into a nearby cave that leads you into the stronghold, to where you can navigate to the portal room and build your nether portal and enter the nether. In the nether, you spawn in a bastion where you can do your piglin trades. This is where most of the runs died because of the fact that people ran this seed on 1.17, making the pearl trades not as good as 1.16, so you have to reset much more often, hoping to one time get the trades. If you're lucky enough to get the trades, you head off to the fortress that is next to the bastion, where you kill blazes until you have 5 rods, and then like all the other runs, you exit the nether, enter the end, and then one cycle the dragon, completing the run. It wasn't until a few months after the initial usage of the seed when 1.16 runners started using this, and very quickly runners started getting crazy times. Sub 330, sub 325, sub 320, and even a few people getting sub 315, and this is where people really started considering sub 3 speedruns. And that's where Cobra started grinding the category with all of his effort, going for that sub 3, and after a few weeks, he did what was thought to be impossible. With this new record, people slowly started leaving the category because the time was so low that there wasn't the biggest reason to run it anymore. While a ton of people still do, not as many people do, but with people like Craze still running the category, and over time he has managed to get 5 sub 3 speedruns, proving his dominance in the category. As well as him, a lot of people who can't downgrade their Minecraft still play, like console or mobile players, since SSG is the best category for those players, and with the brand new 1.18 Caves and Cliffs Part 2 update, players have discovered a new seed, with the world record currently being 5 minutes and 16 seconds by Chronicle, and the time is surely going to be lowered very soon. And with that, I would like to thank you for sticking around and watching this video. I really appreciate you watching, as this is the most effort I've ever put into a video, and I really hope you enjoyed it. Remember, videos are only getting better as well as more frequent, so if you haven't already, consider subscribing as it means the world to me. Again, thank you all so much for watching and I hope you enjoyed. Have a good one. Goodbye everyone.